This is One-on-One with Jasper Cole, Hollywood's bad guy, and so much more. Actor, talent manager, producer, and more. Now he's sitting down with today's top newsmakers from entertainment, politics, pop culture, and beyond. This is One-on-One with Jasper Cole.
All right. Howdy, and welcome to One-on-One with Jasper Cole. This is your host, Mr. Jasper Cole, coming to you live from Sunset Gower Studios right here in Hollywood, California. Let me give a big shout out to my producer, Mr. JW. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, Jasper, and you?
We're back here another week.
I know.
Please, everyone, follow us, please, on Twitter, One-on-One J. Cole, Facebook, One-on-One with Jasper Cole, or my website, jaspercole.com. And if you go on ubnradio.com to my host page, you will see a link for we now have 25 sponsors.
Yes, we do.
We have a new one, efile.com, and then we're going to tell you the 24 right now. All of us here at One-on-One with Jasper Cole are proud to announce our 24 affiliate advertisers, and they are all .coms. Interserver, ZipRecruiter, Hilton Hotels, 3-Day Blinds, Adam and Eve Toys, Bullguard, Prime Slots, Russell Stover, Booking.com, Suzanne Summers Bath and Beauty, Quest Nutrition, Sur La Table, and Extended Stay America.
Additionally, we have EUK Host, Canvas World, Cheap Air, 21st Century, Liberty Mutual, Course Smart, Advanced Auto, Fandango, Meet Mindful, Flair Play, and Jewelry.com. Thanks again to all of our wonderful sponsors. And now back to the show.
Great. And just remember, if you go there, find anything you like, click on it, and we get credit for that as well. So let's get right to our very special guest today. All you sci-fi fans and zombie fans are going to be thrilled, of course, to see our guest. He is a prolific character actor, but he's lucky because he can be a leading guy and a character actor. So that's really something. He plays Murphy on the hit show Z Nation on Sci-Fi on Friday nights. Please welcome Mr. Keith Allan. Hey, buddy.
Thank you.
Great to finally meet you.
You too.
So we briefly chatted a little bit before that. We actually have the same manager, Avi Simon.
Yes, I just
big shout out at Rectangle Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have known Avi like 20 years because he was an actor at one time.
Right.
Yeah. So, but we've been client manager for about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's great. He's fantastic. I also have to give a shout out to Esther Elise Johnson. Because I think she's the greatest first AD in the world.
How do you know Esther?
Well, I did Hansel and Gretel, which was an Asylum production.
Yes,
so
yes.
Esther, I love you. I told her.
She's a badass, that girl. You do
In
not want to mess with Esther.
In 30 years of acting, I swear to God, she was the greatest first AD I've ever worked with.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Plus, she's stunning and she's hot and she's just.
And she's an ass kicker.
And she's drinking the Diet Coke.
Oh yeah.
Esther
girl.
lives on Diet Coke. I think she eats like one meal a day, if that.
Yeah.
So I told her we're going to shout out
Powerhouse.
to her. So
I
anyway,
love that woman.
which kind of is a nice segue to Asylum because Asylum, who also produces Z Nation,
Right.
You have quite a history with Asylum.
I do.
Because you started out. Well, listen, you're hyphenate. You're a writer, you're a producer, you're a director, and you're an actor.
Right.
And you have actually written 3 films, or more than 3 films, 6 maybe, right? Or how many?
Features. Let's see. 1, 2, 3,
Who's
4,
counting?
5.
Really?
Yeah, I think 6. I think
But
6.
you worked at Asylum? Is that the story? You actually worked at Asylum?
Well, I actually had a day job there because as you probably know, being an actor in Los Angeles, you're not always working as an actor, and sometimes you just have to supplement your income. And
it was better than waiting tables.
Yeah, it sure was. I mean, it was one in my field, and so I was the stage manager there at the facilities.
Asylum, by the way, is an amazing company. I mean, they have one of the largest catalogs.
Yeah.
And a lot of people
over
think
100 films.
They think they just do horror, but they have like different budgets and different levels, and they do TV movies and
lots of sci-fi films, Lifetime films.
Right.
They also did some.
Did they do a Hallmark?
Yeah, they did some Hallmark, and they also did some like faith-based films.
Right.
And,
and David Latt, the whole group over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were there, and that was your day job.
Right.
But you were still you were acting at the time.
Well, the great thing about being in that situation and them knowing that I was an actor, they were very free with me going and doing auditions, and very supportive of it also. So that was a great thing. But they also were like, in between while I'm like making sure the toilet's unplugged.
Right.
They're like, "Hey, you want to audition for this movie?" I'm like, "Yeah." So
is that Gerald Webb? Should we give a shout out to G Webb also?
Yeah.
And the casting director of Z Nation, which is Nike.
Nikkei.
Mm-hmm. I actually read for Vasquez this season, which is I'm totally wrong for, but I got to meet her.
Oh, very cool.
And I've known G Webb for a long time, so that was great because you were there. So you
yeah. Well, I mean, I'd been there for 3 years by the time Z Nation happened. So my progression kind of started out as that. Working there, and then they asked me to audition for a couple of movies, and I booked one of the roles. It was actually Three Musketeers.
Okay.
Which was awesome. I was one of the Musketeers.
Did Dylan Vox work on that?
No.
Do you know
no,
Dylan?
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dylan too.
Yeah. This is before his time.
Okay.
There, I believe.
Yeah.
And so I wound up, getting to act in one of their films, and that was awesome. And then soon after that, they were looking for an idea for a film about 11/11/11 because 11/11/11 was coming up, and so they needed an idea. I had an idea, and they sort of let me just write and direct.
That's another great thing about Asylum, right?
Yeah.
They're really great. They're known for that, allowing first-time directors or writers to come in and do it. And
I mean,
was that an amazing experience? I mean,
yes, it was
overwhelming.
It was
a little
hard as hell. God, we wrote the script. I wrote it with a buddy of mine, Kif Scholl. We co-wrote the script together in 10 days.
Wow, Asylum style.
We shot the feature
in 3.
No, 10.
10. I know.
10 days to shoot
people don't believe
a 90-minute feature. It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, it shows you it can be done though.
Yeah, it can be done. I mean, and it's a good little movie. I have to say, I'm lucky enough that I also know lots of very talented actors in this town
that you could call upon.
I do theater, and so you plenty of really good actors that are happy to come in on a moment's notice.
Yeah,
and so that was one of the reasons I think my film really did well was because I have really solid actors, and I didn't have to hold anyone's hands. I didn't have to deal with
veterans that you could trust and you've worked with.
These people could get
and they're from the theater, which helps. I'm not a snob, but a lot of us started in the theater.
Yeah. Well,
I'm always amazed when actors, and this is no judgment, I'm kind of envious of the way, but when people in TV and film have never done theater.
I know. I don't get it.
It's kind of weird.
Well, I think because it's a boot camp. I mean, you really learn a sort of different respect for the craft of acting, and then also pitching in, because when you're doing a small theater, you're
doing it all.
You're painting the sets, you're
cleaning
building,
the bathrooms.
You're like it's
like a rep company.
You especially small theaters with no money, 99
in LA,
seats in LA. I mean, it is. I always recommend to any young actor starting out, do small theater.
Too.
It is
absolutely
one, you make instant friends,
right?
and also
you learn so much.
You learn so much. It's a great training ground for actors to put yourself in front of an audience, because there's no retakes in theater. You sink or swim.
And LA theater gets a bad rap. I mean, I know there are a lot of the showcase productions and stuff like that, but I always say, so what? Even if it's a showcase. Vanity production kind of thing. But a lot of people, I mean, I'm like you. My first few years out here, I did nothing but 99-seat theater.
Sure.
For me, because I'm not in New York, that was sort of summer stock for me. That was sort of off Broadway.
And also, I mean, I wound up making great friends and great connections of people that are still working in the biz.
Yeah.
I worked over at Theater of Note. I was a company member there over on Cahuenga and Sunset.
Great company.
Yeah, in fact, they got a good play
Ezra
going on
Buzzington.
Right now.
Do you know Ezra?
Yeah, of course I know
Another
Ezra.
buddy of ours.
I know Ezra from Seattle.
Right. Because he started
back in the day. Yeah. I lived up in Seattle for about 10 years.
Another great city.
But so Theater of Note, and also their sister theater, Sacred
Fools.
They do a lot of original work,
and they have a great reputation too in LA.
So it's a great opportunity to work on brand new work. So you're getting to work with writers and directors who, and one of the plays that I did there, I'm trying to get it produced as a film now. So, and one of the pieces that I did there also, Kill Me Deadly. I think it's at a festival
I
in
just
Paris
you've
now.
got that that's in the can.
Right.
That's making the
Yeah,
circuit,
well,
right?
I believe they just got distribution for it. It's been making the festival round, and
Yeah,
I believe they
right.
just got distribution for it. And so that is a prime example of a small little theater piece
Coming
becoming
together.
a film. Right, yeah. So
that's great for all you actors watching and listening. We both feel that way, and I always say
Yeah.
that too. Even we won't make this an actor tutorial, but it's just fascinating to me. If I were to start out today, you know, there's so much
Right.
now with social media and YouTube and web series, which we didn't. Well, I'm older than you, but
I doubt it.
we didn't have that when we started.
Right.
For me, theater, that was it. That was the 99
Right.
cent or student films,
Right.
shorts, whatever to get footage to get a
Right.
reel.
Mhm.
Because in TV now, it's all about. They want to see footage before you've done anything.
Oh,
It's
sure,
like-
sure.
Yeah. So all of this leads you to Z Nation,
Mhm.
which now was this your first? This is your first series regular,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
You've done a lot of guest spots.
Yeah, guests and
Yeah,
co-stars,
yeah.
and anything.
But do you find because you guys shoot in Spokane, right?
Right.
And we're talking about the theater rep kind of feeling. Now that you've been on the series, going into your congratulations third
Thank you.
third
Yes,
season.
Yes.
And do you feel that same sort of camaraderie when you're on a series? Because I've only been I've not
Right.
been a series regular. I've only been
Mhm.
guest stars.
Right.
Do you get that same?
Well, I can't speak for bigger shows
Right.
because I've never really been.
Not,
I mean,
not yet.
I got to be like on Mad Men, which was a huge show and fantastic set to be on. But
Right.
of course, I was just visiting their world.
It's different when you just go in.
Yeah, because and they were lovely. It was a great set to be on. Don't get me wrong, but the thing about our show is we are a small team. And so you really do get that sense.
Mhm.
You know everyone. You know everyone. You know their girlfriend. You know their
You know
gossip.
everything
what's
about
going-
them. Yeah,
you really.
It's summer camp in Spokane.
It's really great. I like it because there is a bit of, and we work very hard. The show
Right.
shoots really fast, so
Right.
we shoot an episode every 6 days.
Do you like that?
Well, it's hard.
Yeah, yeah.
I quite frankly would prefer like.
Well, let's
8
talk about because your
8
character
days.
Murphy. There are times when you're in prosthetics.
Yes.
Not always, though,
Not
right?
always, no.
So, but because I know that's a procedure.
Sure. Oh
And-
my
but
God,
is
yeah.
it even that is sped up? Is that rushed as well? Just in the sense of not rushed, but
Right.
you got to get that done quickly. And they got it down to a science.
Now when I'm this season I'm in heavy makeup. I'm blue this season.
Okay.
So I'm in makeup 2 hours every morning
Every
with
morning.
2 people working on me.
And what do you do during
That's
that
just my
time?
hands and my face.
What are you doing?
Either gossiping or
You're able to talk. I mean, you're not having
yeah,
to just sit
right.
there.
No, I'm not. I don't have prosthetics on my face.
Okay.
So no,
It's all
and I'm also going over my script and
Right.
looking at what I have to do.
Oh, you
for that
learn your
day.
lines?
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. But
No, I've worked. Well, come on,
Oh,
we've
yeah.
all worked
Oh,
together.
yeah.
That's an art also. The actors that just kind of
mhm.
and they right before you shoot the scene,
Oh yeah,
or they say, "Don't worry, I got it," and then
Yeah.
you're like, "Really, you don't
Yeah.
have it? So let's
yeah.
start
yeah.
over."
Oh, believe me.
Yeah.
I've had those experiences.
So you have the two, yeah.
So, but when we do the prosthetics, because I have scars all over
Right.
my chest, so whenever those play, that's a 5-hour
Wow.
makeup.
Wow.
So it is, and there's really no way to rush that because it takes.
It's got to be, and it's an art.
It is,
you know?
and Corinne Foster, who
Shout
designed my her and Josh, they own Synapse FX,
Right.
and they do all our zombie makeup, and so she's not only, or they, I should say, are not only designing my look, but also all of the zombies.
The whole, yeah.
And we have a lot of different kinds of zombies on the show, so it's not just cookie cutter zombies.
Right.
They're sort of inventing
New kind of
new breeds of zombies.
That's what's different
Yeah.
about
One of the things that's
as far as
different.
like
Yeah.
The Walking Dead and
Yeah.
iZombie. The whole zombie thing just exploded.
Yeah.
Now wait, you also wrote a zombie script
I wrote a
prior
couple of them.
to prior to the series,
yeah,
right?
a couple of zombie movies for sci-fi.
Now was that something you've had an interest in, the whole zombie genre, or was it you just knew they were looking for? You heard they were looking
They
for
actually
that.
came to me
Oh.
because they had liked what I had done previously with Asylum. This is
Asylum,
Asylum,
yeah.
and they liked what I did with the 1111 script, and so they handed me a project, and so I wound up working with a different writing partner, Delandra Williams. Her and I. we co-wrote both of those scripts. I love horror and sci-fi and zombies.
Right.
It's never anything that I was like,
right. You weren't just like as a kid going,
yeah.
I'm gonna, yeah.
No, but all of a sudden it fell into my lap, and so I'm like, all right,
you can do this.
How do I write a zombie script? And it was awesome because you really sort of. You're writing a drama, and you also try and figure out, how am I going to make this a little different than every other zombie movie you've seen? And so you start to figure out your own logic and your own conflicts, and also how to make this work within the budget that you're being presented,
which is
with.
very important.
Yeah.
People don't think about that.
So it was a great challenge, and I really enjoyed doing it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and I thought we turned out some really solid scripts.
Well, if you're just tuning in, we're speaking with Mr. Keith Allan from Z Nation, who plays Murphy. It just got a 3rd season pickup, Friday nights at 10 o'clock. So for the fans that are listening, is there anything you can tell us about what's upcoming? I know you can't give a lot away, but
well, I can tell you a little bit more about what's coming. We wind up this season. One of the things that makes this season a little different than last season is that there's a bounty on my head. And so this season, we not only are running from zombies, but we're also running from the general public, who wants a piece of the action.
Right.
And so now I'm a wanted man in more ways than one. So we are kind of being hunted. So it makes for a very tumultuous day because you're
action.
on the run.
Yeah. I was going to say you're getting your workout in.
Lots of action.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so and we wind up we're coming up on we will come across a group called the Zeros, which are a Mexican drug cartel.
Wow.
That are now sort of they're creating their own government since the U.S. government sort of collapsed. They are sort of the new government, and so it's an interesting thing. So we come across their tribe, because they're organized. They got it down,
Wow.
So they have an organization that we come in contact with. But that's a couple episodes down the road. But it's a really interesting storyline, and Gina Gershon comes in.
Some great guest stars. Yeah.
Anthony Michael Hall is on.
I just saw. I read that.
On Friday. Yeah.
Well, that's what happens. When a show becomes more popular, people are suddenly wanting to be on it.
Right. Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and you get to work with these people.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You have a great cast. Kalita Smith. Everybody's fierce.
Really, really good cast. I have to say, it's a lot of fun going to work.
Yeah.
Not only because our cast is really professional and fun. And there's no really huge egos that we're having to deal with on set. But also, our, like I was saying earlier, our crew is really solid, and they're really there because not for the paycheck, because we are a really low budget show,
right.
But because they're invested in making the show something that is different than anything else on TV. And
well, sci-fi's really exploded, no pun intended. Also, they've gotten. I mean, Anthony Ferrante was my director on Hansel and Gretel. And of course, I just did a little cameo in a film for him and Ben DeMarie. I said to him, "Hey, Mr. Sharknado now," but that was a big thing for sci-fi too.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah,
it's huge. They're doing 4.
And for asylum, I mean,
Sharknado 4 is around the corner.
It's amazing. Yeah. Well, also, do you like Spokane? How is it being? I've never been, but you're from Seattle. Not that that's.
I'm not. Lived in Seattle.
You lived in Seattle.
I lived in Seattle for 10 years. I love the Northwest.
Me too.
I mean,
Pacific Northwest.
When I got the job, I really had to get in my car the next day and drive. Yeah, it was that quick. It's like.
What is the drive? Like 9 hours?
No, it's like 14
or
something like that.
Okay.
But
so you relocate during the time
you're
there?
I'm up there for 6 months.
6 months, yeah.
And so
does it have a small town feel to it?
Very small town.
Okay.
It's a big small town. That's kind of what Spokane is. It's nice for me to sort of be removed from Los Angeles because I don't have the distractions that I would have here. I'm able to really just focus on the show.
Yeah, when you're on location, you really, for me too, you feel like you're focusing on the work.
Yeah, and really, you don't have a lot of time to be distracted.
Not with the 14-hour days or 12-hour days or whatever.
It's 14-hour days.
Yeah.
And we are, you go home, you get back up, you do it again. And so So it's nice to have that kind of focus while you're up there, to be up there, and that's what I'm up there to do. But that being said, it's also gorgeous up there. I mean, there's so much nature around. I mean, Coeur d'Alene is right there.
Beautiful.
And lots of biking and hiking.
Are you an outdoors
person?
Do you like?
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
So and it's I mean, the clouds. So you can't believe it. It's like big puffy clouds.
Right.
And so it's quite beautiful. And
do you get to come? Do you have some time to come back at all? Some breaks during that time, or
no.
You pretty much you guys shoot straight
pretty
through?
Much there, unless there's an episode where you're not featured in.
Right, but your character's
I'm pretty featured.
Featured.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing a lot of actors forget too. We always be careful what you wish for, because especially 1 hour shows, 1 hour serials and dramatic shows are, like you said, 12 and 14-hour days.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said the job to get is a sitcom. The 3 camera, because it's like banker's hours, and you work 3 weeks and you have a week off, and I don't know. I'm old now, so I'm at the point where I just want to drive down the street and pull into the studio and park my car. Not to say I'm turning down any 1 hour offers.
Well, sometimes I just wish I was on an office show where all I had to do is show up at a desk in a suit. That ain't this show, though.
I'm just waiting. I just want to be the homeless guy I want, like Garrett Morris on Two Broke Girls. I just want to be the guy laying in the doorway that throws a line every now and then.
Right.
Yeah, but having said that,
look, I'm happy to have a job.
We're lucky to have a job. So, let's go back to we talk about the journey. Where you started actually in 2000 in TV and film, but you had started. Where did you actually grow up? Where did this?
I grew up in Sacramento.
Okay, so you're in California.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And did you start out in theater in that area too, or did?
Well, I was in high school. I just started taking classes as soon as I could. I knew very early on that that's what I wanted to do. Even before I could take class, I knew that this was what I was going to do. So the minute I got into high school and drama was offered, that's what I did.
You were in there.
Yeah. And so but it was, and then I wound up going to acting school at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts here in Pasadena. When it was in Pasadena. Now it's here in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But so that was
it's a great training ground. They have one in New York also.
Right. And
David Dean Bottrell, who's an actor friend of mine, he actually teaches at both of them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great training ground because, I mean, it's a very focused curriculum. So and you're with like-minded people. Right. So I mean, I have very, very good friends that I see all the time now, because you create this bond. You are all young, inspired actors,
hopeful and happy.
Yeah, and you're all sort of discovering, as you go along, and you're watching this person, you watch their work and you watch them have a breakthrough, and so you're kind of going through this evolution together as actors. So it creates these bonds and friendships that.
And also, a lot of the teachers are actors, working actors, probably people that you respect.
Well, I actually I hired one of my teachers to be in my movie 11 Madonna Young. Yeah.
Wow.
See? I was writing it with her in mind. I'm like
Madonna.
She would be perfect.
That's great.
And
I
she
love
killed
these stories.
It.
You're actually paying it forward.
What's
to people.
funny is it's Asylum. They're like, we want this other actress who's got a bigger name. And a weird face. And I'm like, no.
We'll talk about her off camera.
You got to trust me. This is the woman. They're like, well, we don't know. You bring her in for, again.
Make her read.
Yeah, make her read again. And I'm like, oh my God. So I had her read again. And they're like, they begrudgingly were like, all right, you can have your little acting teacher. And I'm like, great. And of course, now they love her.
Right.
She stole the movie, and she's been in like 4 other Asylum movies.
But see, that's what happens as actors, right? Yeah. We don't, we don't hear the conversations. Well, now I was going to ask you, isn't it great for you as an actor, having been on all sides of the room? You've been on the casting side, you've been on the directing side. Because the times that I've done that, it totally just depersonalized the whole thing. Because I learned as an actor that 7 of us could go in and give an amazing audition.
Sure.
And the one that gets it doesn't. The other 6 are not negated.
Right.
It's just you can't. Can you describe like what that is? And now that you direct, like when people say, "Well, the moment this person walked in the room, there was a quality. We just hope that they could talk and walk at the same time." But you know what I mean. Describe that for you. Is that for you as a director, where you can sense who's right for the part right away, or no, or that a lot of people are great, they give great readings, but
I really have to make sure they can act. I'm an acting snob.
Right.
I'm self-proclaimed, and if you can't, if you are not bringing something to the table and are just a pretty face, forget it. I'm not interested.
Good.
And so, because I studied, I went to school for
you
years,
paid your dues.
and on top of that, I took class and I did theater,
Right,
and
right,
I put a lot of work into being in the position I am today.
Right.
So, and I expect that from people that I work with.
Right.
And so people that just kind of, decide to be actors because they think it's going to be fun, or because they think, I got a good face for it.
Oh, yeah. Well, unfortunately now with reality TV, that's what
it's
kind
sad.
of nurtures.
And it's sad, and it's, people perpetuate it because they watch it.
But
that being said,
right, another show, but to be continued.
But that being said, I really will when I'm auditioning someone, as to the best of my ability, I'll put them through it a little bit, and see what they got and see what they can bring, and also try and get a feel of how they're going to be on set. If
that's
they're
so important.
Boy, it is.
Don't you feel like there are a lot of people who are really great auditioners, and then this does happen at times. Something is different when they get on the set.
Oh, sure.
And that may just be personal. It may not be their talent, but the town is full of workshops on how to audition and commercial, because you do commercials as well. Yeah. Thank God for mailbox money. Same here. But it irritates me now when I see all these commercial workshops, because I feel like commercials today are pretty much, if you watch commercials, it's just the everyday. I mean, when I go in for homeless or bad guys or whatever, I don't really do anything. You slate your name and look in the camera.
So much of it is about a look.
You remember the days of the workshops where they would try to teach you commercial acting or whatever? There's a whole.
I did a few of them.
Oh, I think we all did. But there's a whole industry here of that. Of taking people's money. Yeah. But again, we both go back to just keep doing theater, keep doing the work, and you're a testament to that. You just keep putting it out there, and you can't. I tell actors this. You can't always try to plan. You really can't plan how a career is going to go. You can keep doing your work. Like you couldn't plan that you were going to be working at Asylum and you'd be asked to write and direct. Because I think a lot of actors, a lot of people in the industry, they think of it as like a lawyer or a doctor. You go to school, you're going to do step 1, step 2 equals 3, and it really.
And the reality is that a lot of talented actors never really hit. They never, are making a living at this, at something they love.
They love and are great at it.
And great actors, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of them just wind up doing, and some of them give up. They just can't take it anymore. But some of them also, they just wind up doing, small theater.
And I admire that.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a hard job to be successful at.
And to hang in there.
I
say that all the time too. I think I eventually they started giving me parts because I just didn't go away.
Yeah.
But I respect the people that did. I often say if you can do anything else and be happy, do it.
But there's
no cure.
Other side to this is you really do have to constantly put in work. And that is taking classes or making short films. One of the reasons that Asylum looked at me differently was because I had a couple of short films that I'd made, and they saw those and they're like, okay, he knows how to make a short film. He could make a feature,
which is what a lot of directors do.
Right. So I mean, and it was because I put in the efforts to create something else that I wound up creating something bigger.
Yeah. And doing the short film was a great, because you're doing a feature. It just happens to be 20 minutes or whatever, but it's shot just like a feature. Sure. So that is great training.
Yeah.
So in terms of writing and directing, do you have stuff coming up? You mentioned maybe trying to get a particular play into.
I did a play over at Theater of Note that was a lot of fun, and I thought, oh, this could be a really fun movie. So what I did was I pulled a lot of favors, and I basically shot the opening sequence of the movie. And it is it's very stylized. It's called Hearts Like Fists, and it did really well on stage.
I remember reading about it.
It's basically a graphic novel, dark comedy.
Okay.
Crime fighters, supervillain sort of thing on stage, on a Matchbox stage, But so it's got a sense of humor about itself, but it's also very stylized and very fun. And so what I did was I shot the opening, which is the introduction to Dr. X, which was my character. And so I just really wanted people to see what my vision was, what I want this film to look like, and what I think it could be.
Stylized and
right.
yeah.
And so anyhow, it took me because I got Z Nation in between, so it actually took me like 2 years to finish 7 minutes of film.
Oh my God!
But that's also because I was pulling favors and asking people to work for very little money because I couldn't afford to pay them what they were worth. But that being said, what I turned out is really
good,
very, very cool. Yeah, it's real. It's exceptional, I think. And if you go to heartslikefists.com, you can look at
check it out.
Yeah, there's the little teaser on there, and so
also you have your website, KeithAllanActor.com.
Yeah, which
Twitter is I like Keith Allan, and it's ALLAN, but Keith Allan Duh. Do you?
Yeah.
Are you big on social media? What is your take on social? I mean, it's almost like you have to be.
I have to say, I'm learning.
Because you have a lot of fans from Z Nation.
Yeah,
do you do the tweeting with the fans, or
I do.
Yeah.
I do, and I'm Facebook and tweet it, and it's very difficult. It's very time consuming.
It's a full-time
job.
job.
But that being said, I can't tell you how appreciative my fans are that I'm actually responding to them.
And it's you.
Believe me. They grill me all the time. Like, is it really you? And I'm like, yeah, it's really me. They're like, prove it. I'm like,
you're like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but yeah.
So, I do it as much as I possibly can, and I'm always posting stuff that I'm working on or things like that. But
is the set pretty? Are you pretty limited, like what you can release or do or say on the set? Can you release photos and stuff, or
not until the show starts to air, because. For instance, we have a new sort of wardrobe look, and they wanted that to be a reveal on the show. So very, very limited as to what you can
post or whatever. Now, when do you go back?
I'm hearing April. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So nice. You've got some nice time to to get to the gym. And I'm sure you're not. I was going to say, and you're probably not ever not working, so you're probably doing stuff when you're here as well. Are you able to do guest spots and stuff? Are you able to do other shows?
Yes, I am.
Let's put that out there. No, because a lot of people, that's what happens.
For hire.
You get on a series, and a lot of times they think he's not available to do anything.
No.
So that's Avi's job. Avi will make sure you get out there.
Yeah, well, I would love to do something that is not a zombie show. I would love to just mix it up and do.
But that's what I was saying earlier. See, I'm a character actor, but I have this certain kind of look, and people say, you're so severe, Jasper. But you're really, I'm envious because you can play, and I've seen some of your stuff. You can play the dad, the nice dad. You're not always playing the bad. Well, even though Murphy is a bad guy, he's a white collar criminal.
Right.
So you've got that whole. Do people tell you have a Jeff Goldblum vibe? Have you heard that?
Yes, I was just mentioned that last night. Yes, I've heard
not
that
as
before.
not as quirky.
Last night I got Hugh Jackman. I get like Hugh Jackman
totally
and Jeff Goldblum.
JW, can you see that?
Because they're so similar,
But it's great because in looking through your body of work and even the commercials you've done, you're sometimes just the all-American husband.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you're really lucky that way.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. So, well, listen, it goes so fast. It's such a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Everyone, please remember Z Nation Friday nights. 10 o'clock,
Sci-Fi.
And come back anytime.
Oh, thank you.
That would be great.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to get into this whole hot topics and what's been happening in the world. You are listening and watching One-on-One with Jasper Cole. We'll be right back.
You're back. One-on-One with Jasper Cole.
Woohoo! All right. Howdy, and welcome back to One-on-One with Jasper Cole. I want to give a big thanks again to Keith Allan, who plays Murphy on Z Nation, Friday nights at 10 o'clock on Sci-Fi Channel. It was great. It was great just to have another actor here to commiserate about acting. And what I love about Keith is he's such the great example of how you put in the work and you do and he has a passion for it. You can tell when he talks about it. That I love what he said about when he brings actors in for auditions, he makes them, puts them through the paces, because so much of the business now is about, just looking a certain way and not having the chops. So anyway, I wanted to just get into a little bit of what's been happening in the news. Clearly, I guess, from last Wednesday, since we were here, we had the horrific terrorist attacks in Paris on Friday. So we, of course, want to send all our love out to everyone in Paris and everyone that was affected by this, because there were even though there's one American, it seems like, people were killed and injured from all over the world, because Paris, like New York, of course, is a tourist town and people come from all over. So it was riveting to watch in a very sad way, but it reminded me of course, 9/11. It was almost like their version of 9/11, being attacked on their own soil. And I've been fascinated to learn in watching the last few days about the class system in Paris, in France. A lot of they have some problems, as we do, with race and class, but I think we have a little bit more of a middle class in this country, and this is by no means justifying any of the behaviors of the terrorist or the alleged people. But I did read a blog today. It was fascinating. A woman who's on Meredith Vieira's show. She's one of the singers in the band, and she's from Paris, and she's I think she's part Lebanese. I can't remember, but she grew up in sort of the not so nice neighborhood of Paris. She called it the suburbs. And when they say the suburbs there, it was almost like when we say suburbs, it kind of has this Pleasantville connotation, but the way she described suburbs there was sort of like the ghetto, the housing project kind of thing. And apparently, she had to deal with a lot of racism there, because Parisians are very loyal like Americans are, but they're not known as quite like we are for being such a nation of immigrants. Our whole country is founded on immigration, and everyone come here and we welcome you. So she talked, it was interesting, because I haven't heard this mentioned on CNN or some of the news outlets about there is a lot of these people in the suburbs feel disenfranchised, and they feel like they're not it's one thing, I think, to feel that way, but also to live in a country where you don't have the opportunities to sort of move up in the system the way we have here in America. I mean, sadly, a lot of people would say that here in America, the middle class is sort of being eroded, and we're getting closer to being like a Mexico, where it's the have and the have-nots, and the ultra-rich and the people struggling. I don't believe we're there yet, but we certainly are heading in the wrong direction if we don't get the right person in the office. But I was fascinated by that, because that's not to say that any of these terrorists, if they were feeling disenfranchised, but I think it goes to a core issue of how a lot of times ISIS is able to recruit these people, because they're really vulnerable, they're feeling disenfranchised, they're feeling like they don't really have any hope to sort of move up in society. And so I think this happens with a lot of religious cults. I mean, you could throw in Scientology, or going back to Jim Jones, or any of the tragic cult situations. People, they get recruited at their most vulnerable time. And I think I've just been amazed how ISIS, what is it, 25,000 apparently, these thugs, I call them, with like primitive weapons, that they've been able to just galvanize and take over and get people interested. And apparently, again, the internet has been a huge part of being able to recruit people. And on the flip side of talking about the kids coming from the ghettos, they're on the complete opposite. There are other kids or young people that are not coming from poor families that are also joining ISIS. And I think it just goes to right now the state of the world in terms of where we are. So I was very relieved to see that they did capture and kill, and had a big shootout yesterday morning. And I've been very impressed with France in general, the way, first of all, they immediately started airstrikes on ISIS, which was great. A lot of people have criticized Obama for not doing that, but then they don't understand we have been doing airstrikes along the way. But I thought it sent a great message to the terrorists that France was not going to take any shit, and they started bombing. I was also really impressed how quickly they were able to locate these terrorists in this apartment yesterday. I think they had really good intelligence working. Apparently they intercepted some cell phone conversations, which was amazing. But, it's so sad because, like, the one young college student from Long Beach who was there, as an exchange student, and it just, I don't know, you think about fate or destiny, and I toy with this all the time, or was it just meant to be she was going to be having dinner at that restaurant, or or did one decision we make lead us to that restaurant. That's just something I get into, and I know JW, you're like that. You're spiritual and you think about stuff like that. But for her family back here in Long Beach, and just to get that phone call, as for all the victims to get the phone call, and ironically, the band that was playing is from Palm Springs, so it's my second home, and I was there when this was happening. So there was a lot of stuff on the news about that, and they, thank God, survived. I think they were lucky because they were able to just run backstage. But just watching some of the videos there was one girl hanging out the window of the theater, and honestly, I don't like crowds unless they're there to see me. I'm just kidding, but you know what I mean. If I'm in a play or something, but in general, in my social life, I don't like these large venues, and I don't like even like the Hollywood Bowl. As much as I've enjoyed going there, I'm trying. But having said that, I don't want to be that person that lets the fear of this kind of stuff keep me from living life,
Exactly.
So, and speaking of living life on a completely different subject, let's just talk about the big Charlie Sheen announcement yesterday. Wow. There's so much stuff. The first thing that comes to mind for me is I felt really disheartened that regardless of what he was dealing with, he felt shame about being HIV positive.
Mm-hmm.
He felt shame to the point that he was being blackmailed, allegedly being blackmailed and extorted money, based on Charlie Sheen's past, and he's been no stranger to put it out there. I'm not surprised that he's HIV positive. That was not a surprise, because we know with intravenous drug use and I'm sure promiscuous, unprotected sex. I mean, the other positive thing, no pun intended for me, was that this was a heterosexual man, not a gay man. That at least proves again that AIDS is HIV. Sorry, is
not a gay disease.
Is not a gay disease,
Yes.
and we know that. And but what's really kind of pissing me off is these people are talking about how these poor people, these poor girls, he didn't tell them, blah blah blah. I do agree that that's wrong, but in this day and age, don't people know they need to protect themselves? I mean, my motto is everybody has a disease, and just protect yourself thinking they do. I mean, I just would assume everyone is using protection. And even if someone says to you, shows you an HIV test from last month and says they were negative, we don't know how many people they've slept with since the test. And, on a positive note, I mean, HIV now is a chronic manageable disease. However, for people dealing with it, they can tell you taking medications is not wonderful. There's side effects. There's long-term effects. Or so this whole thing about take a pill. But in a weird way, HPPV is even almost more dangerous because that leads to cancers. And when you think about it, how ironic that hepatitis C. I mean, herpes is something, depending on how your system reacts to it, that you have for the rest of your life, like HIV. So, in the blessing, I feel that is HIV is now part of that group. But were you still amazed that there was that Charlie felt so? It's almost like he had a retro thought about it. Like, it was almost like going back to the mid 80s, that he was so worried about people finding out. Because here's my other thing. If he was worried about work, I mean, let's just be real. He was making $1.3 million an episode on 2.5 Men, and had quite a big deal on anger management. So I guess what I'm getting at is he couldn't say, well, I was worried I would never get a job again. Well, the asshole doesn't have to work again. So I was just trying to get his, the motivation was still there, that he was embarrassed and shameful.
Yeah, and it could be because, again, you've mentioned that he is a straight man, and in the HIV community, it predominantly serves, and as far as what I've, being gay myself,
You're gay?
Exactly right.
I'm gay. I'm gay friendly, so it's okay.
You hear about it all the time,
right?
Thankfully, but maybe not so much in the straight community, and so maybe that's why he wasn't so educated about things. And you would think with the doctor that he had that he would be.
Although I was a little annoyed with the doctor that he had on with him from UCLA yesterday. This is just my opinion. The doctor said there is absolutely no way you can infect someone when you're undetectable. Well, that's not absolutely true. I mean, there's still, if there's I don't care if it's a 0.0.9% chance. It's just like when people said you can't get HIV from oral sex. That's not true either.
Not true. Right.
But you're more than likely not to. But again, I go back to, if you happen to be one of those people who's the 1% in their life all the time, you might want to protect yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, there are wonderful couples that are, one's positive, one's negative, and they manage quite well with that. But
especially with PrEP these days.
Well, with PrEP,
yes.
yeah. But I just thought, again, hopefully, now he says he's going to now be a proponent for HIV and put money. I don't think he has. He alluded to the fact that he was having financial problems. So, but I can't imagine that he's broke. Yeah. But the whole, what do you think this criminalization of? Because here's my thing about, if you're going to criminalize him, you're going to make it a crime for not telling about HIV. Well, why doesn't that stand for hepatitis C, the ones we talked about? Since now HIV is, if it's supposedly not a death sentence, why is that in a different category? That would be my question. I did hear on the news today that no prosecutors have said they're not interested in going after him, because quite frankly, how do you can't prove that. Yeah. You can't prove that he didn't tell them. It's a he said, she said. All he has to do is say, yeah, I told them, So I just was a little worried that he put that out there about you. It's fine if he has unprotected sex right now. He's undetectable. So, and again, going back to test, he may have been undetectable in March, but he may not still be in April and May, because when the drugs stop working, the virus, the viral load goes up. So bottom line is, just protect yourself. Right. It's everyone's responsibility to protect themselves. And while we would like to think that people will be honorable and be honest and tell you their status, I just don't know. And then, you mentioned something about going back to how it used to be. I don't know. Young kids today, gay kids in particular, I think the gay community has just bought this story that HIV is no big deal and they can just take a pill and they'll be fine. And, that's not true. It can lead to a lot of other problems down the line, the long-term effects of medications. You talk to anyone who's been a long-term person on medications, there's heart problems, there's kidney, there's liver, there's a lot of stuff down the line that ultimately can come from taking pills. Yes. So the bottom line is, you want to protect yourself and not have to take medications. So anyway, listen, the best thing of all is this: we're here to love each other, be kind to each other, and we do send Charlie all the love. He's got kids and he's got a grandchild. So this has been a great show. God, time flies. Please, again, follow us on Twitter, One-on-One with J. Cole, and go to our website and go to our host page. Buy some shit. And we will see you next Wednesday, same time, same place. Peace out.
Thanks for checking out One-on-One with Jasper Cole. Check out past episodes and get the latest as they're released. Subscribe today on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube.